So, I was listening to what JD from NY206 and Andrew Baydala from last night's Tuesday Night Titans live stream that they did had to say when it came to them talking about Triple H's response to the Vince McMahon scandals during the post-Royal Rumble press conference. And, I didn't think about this at first because, I look at the fact that because I still stand by this too. I think that if Triple H does face any kind of punishment because of his connection with Vince as his son-in-law, it might be a 3 to 6 months probation, maybe with somebody keeping an eye on him, to send a message of, hey, next time you guys know about something like this, you will let us know, you will inform us, right away. But then I heard what JD had to say. And Andrew Baydala also agreed with this, chimed in on it as well. The timeline of this lawsuit by Janelle Grant, and what Vince did to her and everything, it kind of lines up with the same timeline that Triple H was out, recovering from a life-threatening heart attack, and Stephanie, Vince's daughter, who's married to Hunter, was at home helping him, recover from said heart attack along with their daughters. And when I heard them talk about this, and them mentioning that there's no way, with him being gone, that he would have any idea what was going on at the office, when it came to this kind of stuff. And if he did, he probably didn't know the severity of it. That does kind of, make me think and realize that Triple H, is probably going to be in the clear. Because the courts, the courts will look at that and they'll be like, okay, Paul Levesque, he's in the clear. Stephanie McMahon's in the clear. They'll see that and be like, okay, these people, even though they're Vince's daughter and son-in-law, they're in the clear because they had no idea what was going on because they were at home, recovering from a life-threatening situation, that, Paul was going through. So when you really consider it, and you look at that time frame that JD pointed out, it does kind of, make sense that, even though he's his son-in-law, he probably didn't have any clue whatsoever of what was going on. And if he heard anything, he probably didn't even know it was going to be this severe. And a lot of people have to realize too, and I've talked about this as well, Triple H, along with Stephanie, Vince's daughter, voted. They voted, along with the rest of the board, Nick Khan included, they voted, for Vince to be gone. But what did Vince do after months of being gone? He decides to power play his way back in, fire a couple of board members, appoint 2 board members he had fired previously to sway the vote in his favor. And even if everybody would have said no, including the board members he appointed in his favor, Vince still had enough percentage of the voting power to say, well, you all say no, well, guess what? That don't matter, only mine does, so I'm voting myself in, I'm back. And that's probably what happened. But, some people don't seem to realize that. They don't seem to, acknowledge, everything, that lines up with that time frame of where Hunter was at that time, where Stephanie was at that time, and so on. Nor do they realize that Vince, was voted out by his own daughter, by his own son-in-law, by his close confidant Nick Khan, and the rest of the board, and probably was voted against even by his 2 new appointed members that he appointed to be in his favor. Nobody seems to realize that, even if they were all nays, his yay was all that mattered. And that was it. That was it. It's like people don't seem to understand that. They don't seem to be looking at all of that from a I guess, an unbiased perspective, point of view. And for those that want Triple H gone because, he didn't give us the answers we wanted at the press conference, you know what that is to me? You know what that sounds like to me? The same people that were happy that CM Punk got injured. The same people that say that CM Punk had it coming to him. The same people that said CM Punk got karma, back at him and it doesn't taste well. What it sounds like to me, and I'm trying to find the right words to say here, What that sounds like to me is basically, as I said yesterday, and I've said before, pure pro wrestling, hardcore IWC, AEW, Tony Khan diehards. That's what it sounds like to me. That's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like to me those are the kind of people that are wanting, Triple H fired, that are happy CM Punk is injured, because to them, they feel, oh, if Triple H is fired, it makes it easier for Tony Khan to rule the world of pro wrestling. Ha 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 ha. That's, I know that was a little exaggerated, but that's probably how they're thinking. That's probably why they want this. And if that's the case, and in my opinion, it's more than likely to be the case, why don't you just come out and say it? Why don't you just come out and say it? Just come out and say, look, guys, I can understand that Triple H is in a dire situation, but what would be best for him right now? To step away and let somebody else take over creative and all that, and, come back when the time is right, or maybe come back at the Tony Khan spot WWE, and maybe Tony Khan will give him a job as a janitor. It's like, why don't you just admit it? Just admit it. Just say you're an AEW diehard and everything, that, wants AEW to succeed and you don't care how it happens. You don't care how it happens. Just, you just want it to succeed. Or just come out and say, yeah, I'm an AEW diehard. I'm a Tony Khan supporter. And the reason I want Triple H gone is because I know he's a major threat, and that if he sticks around, Tony Khan may not have AEW much longer. Just say something like that. Just admit it. Don't be so scared. But you know why people won't admit it? Because they will know, people will hear what they say in admittance and say, ha, see, you're just scared because you don't think Tony Khan can beat Triple H. Or, ha, you're just scared because AEW is not what it used to be, and it looks like it's on its last legs. That's why you want Triple H gone. That's why you're happy CM Punk got injured. It's like, it's like, these diehards, and that's what they are to me. AEW, pure pro wrestling, IWC, Tony Khan supporting diehards. It seems that, they just don't get it. If they looked at it from an unbiased, lens, out of an unbiased lens, they would realize that Triple H probably had no idea what was going on. I mean, he basically said the same thing that Natalya, that Cody, and several others have said. That he found out when everybody else did. But he can't say much right now because maybe he doesn't know too much. Maybe he hasn't read the lawsuit much. And oh, by the way, maybe because of the fact that he wasn't there when it happened and he doesn't know what the hell happened when he was recovering from a heart attack. It's like some people just don't seem to understand that, especially, supporters and diehards of one company that wanted to see it succeed, and no matter what the cost of the wrestling promotion in general. I mean, isn't WWE that's, on top of them, that's beating them, and let's say it's TNA, they'd probably wish death upon TNA. Or if it's MLW on top of AEW, they'd probably wish death on MLW and whoever's running that, whoever the, creative face of is that. You see, to me, that's why I believe when I think about what Baydala said, what JD said, yeah, it makes a lot of sense now that maybe Triple H won't suffer as much of a punishment, if at all, like what I'm alluding to, that I believe he could still face, because of the fact that he wasn't there, in accordance to the timeline of that lawsuit, but yet you have folks out there, that are wanting him to be fired because, not just because he didn't give them the answer they wanted at the press conference, but because of the fact that they probably look at this as an opportunity to get rid of the most threatening force against Tony Khan, and once he's gone, AEW rule the world. It's like, again, if you are that scared, just admit it. Just admit it. Or if you're an AEW diehard that always wishes death upon the competition that could potentially, dethrone and make AEW look inferior, just say it. Just say it. There's no shame in it. There's no shame in saying that. But you, again, like I said, you won't say it because then people will point out that, see, you're scared of Triple H. You're scared of WWE. That's what you are. You're scared that they're going to put AEW out of business again. Or just like they did WCW. They're going to put AEW out of business just like they did WCW, and ECW. You're afraid of that, aren't you? That's why you won't admit it. That's why people won't admit it. But in closing, I know it may sound like I rambled here, but the point is, JD and Andrew do have, they do bring up a good thing here. It's like, how would Triple H really know what was going on if he was at home recovering with his wife and his daughters? And also the fact that him being a family man, he won't want his daughters to think of him as being something worse than being the worst thing on earth. No. Or being depraved or anything. No. He's not that kind of a person. So, again, I have to give a shout out to JD and Andrew for bringing that up. And let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Do you think, do you agree with JD and Andrew on the fact that the timeline kind of matches up with the fact that Hunter may, if not at all, would know what happened because he was at home recovering? And do you think people that are asking for his firing and even are happy for CM Punk being injured are just AEW diehards that are desperate to have AEW succeed no matter what the situation? Let me know down below in the comments or the live chat during the premiere. Again, guys, I do apologize for rambling a little bit. And until next time, I am out.